What is going on, everyone? Badger here. Should have like and sub, and let's get into this. Just the other day, we saw Bethesda cancel, shut down, and then consolidate on some of them. Arcane Austin, Tango Gameworks, and Alpha Dog Games. And while we might have understood this on, being connected to Redfall, which famously failed, and also came into Game Pass first, and Game Pass is something you're going to be hearing a lot about right now. We're finding there are bigger reasons why they actually got rid of it. And here we have on geeksandgamers.com, many were baffled when Microsoft shut down some big Bethesda studios and combined others, which will result in plenty of layoffs. Now, someone with knowledge of the situation is letting people know what really happened. And you can see here, it is Brian Hildebrand, the senior public relations manager at Microsoft. And so here's Grummz saying, vindicated once again, when Microsoft acquired Blizzard, I explained how Game Pass is not sustainable and bad for developers. I was endlessly attacked for this and told it was great. I was right then, and now here we are with Microsoft not able to sustain the studios they acquired and closing many good companies. Here we go. Here is Brad Hildebrand, the public relations and communications leader. There are two reasons why all those Bethesda studios closed, and neither of them have anything to do with Bethesda directly. Game Pass and Activision. The biggest paradox with Game Pass is that basically every game that launches on the service badly misses its sales goals. Shocking, I know. Makes sense, though. Why pay full price to buy a game when you can play it for free as part of your subscription? This is accounted for somewhat by attributing portions of revenue of top performing Game Pass games every month, but there are factors working against games. Namely, the fact that most games don't stay at the top of the chart for more than a month or two, and also that Game Pass growth has stagnated. It really has. It used to have great things coming onto it. Now I check what's coming on, and it ain't great. But also, I played a game like Starfield without paying for it. Outer Worlds, which everyone loves Obsidian for New Vegas. Why? Where's the Outer Worlds talk? Well, played it on Game Pass, never gave it a second thought afterwards. So games like Hi-Fi Rush, which is incredible, mind you, gets a very small bump in revenue from being the hot Game Pass game for a month. Then it falls off a cliff when everyone moves on to the next thing. Poor Redfall had it even worse since it launched so rough it never had a chance. This system was fine for a while when Game Pass was growing like gangbusters, but now it's slowed way down, and the amount of revenue it's attributing to games isn't keeping up with the budgets to make them. But all that wouldn't have mattered even 3 or 4 years ago, because back then Xbox was basically a rounding error on Microsoft's books. The division made some money, but more importantly, it didn't cost that much, and other parts of the business easily covered the gap. Then Microsoft went on a buying spree and spent a lot of money on Bethesda, but orders of magnitude more on Activision. Now the eye of Sauron has turned. Its eye, it's ever upon us. The Xbox is expected to start making that $70 billion back, or at least cut expenses to the bone and then some while they try. That brings us to Game Pass, which is the only reason I'm still there for the PC Game Pass and the Xbox Game Pass. So far, the big bets on driving new subscriptions, Redfall and Starfield, even though Starfield's about to get a new update with like vehicles, land vehicles, and an expansion, still haven't spurred near enough growth, and there's not much on the horizon that is likely to restart the momentum. The best bet is Call of Duty, but do you really risk the guaranteed sales revenue that franchise brings by putting it on Game Pass on day one and potentially lose massive? And not potentially, you would. I don't know what the plans are, but either you put it on Game Pass and lose money, or you don't, and the subscribers revolt because they think that's what they signed up for. Call of Duty will be fine, though, as will the other mega studios with huge IPs, but you're seeing the impact. All those smaller studios making really interesting games are going to fall away simply because, as good as games like Hi-Fi Rush are, they're never going to make enough money to make up that $70 billion hole that Xbox now has to dig itself out of. Now, it's fortuitous that Grummz shared this. Yeah, you see Grummz here. Game Pass is great for Microsoft and horrible for individual games. You know how games have to make money if they are cheap on Game Pass, in-game purchases, and predatory monetization. The goal is to get you in cheap, then monetize you like a casino. Y'all cheering this. This was in June 29th of 2023. So over a year ago, damn near, Grummz was calling this out. So yeah, definitely proven right. You can say follow up to his own that same day, this is about conglomeration of content to single dominant sources. Where have you heard that before? It is wealth and profit transfer from individual developers to favoring a central publishing pipeline, which eventually owns the lion's share of profit. Yeah, not good. And to do that, Microsoft obviously has to pay for titles that then the company itself suffers for. And you can see here, Grummz calling it out. Remember when this games journalist at VGT Gaming News tried to tell him he knows nothing or lied when he said games developers was going to be bad for Game Pass was going to be bad for developers? Didn't go well for him. Yeah, that's the ultimate owning. The similarities to Disney are hard to ignore. The two companies went on, as Hildebrand puts it, a buying spree and found themselves outbet for different reasons, unable to make back the cost of their acquisitions. Yes, because as we saw, Disney spent a lot of money on Marvel and Star Wars, ostensibly because they were boy brands and they wanted to bring more boys in. Then they promptly turned them into girl brands. And as Chris Gore says, Disney turning Star Wars into a girl brand is one of, and will be one of, the costliest mistakes in human history. And as we've seen, they're still $2.8 billion away from actually justifying it. Disney lost money buying Star Wars. They have still never made it back. And we're going over a decade now. So, let me know what you think of this. Does this help answer some questions of exactly why those and probably future game companies will be shuttered? It's that Game Pass apparently is, although like it's fun for us, it's bad actually in the long run. So let me know what you think of this. Make sure to like, share, and sub. If you have done that, thank you. And seriously, because we are, I know I said now, we are only about 50 away from 4,000. So thank you so much. Be sure to like, share, and sub. And if you have done it, thank you. And if you're gonna do it, thank you. And well.
Bye.